Have you ever noticed that the people who harm you the most rarely strike in daylight, but wait for the moment you lower your guard? When the world grows quiet, when your mind is tired and your spirit is exposed? Stay with me until the very end. Missing even one of these truths opens a silent door to manipulation, envy, and unseen harm from evil people. Tonight, you will learn 7 night routines, ancient, disciplined, and quietly powerful, that protect you from evil people without confrontation, without fear, and without turning your heart bitter. These routines were practiced in spirit by Stoics long before modern psychology gave them names. They are shields forged in silence. If you feel drained after certain conversations, if you sense people feeding on your energy, if betrayal keeps repeating itself in different faces, if your nights are restless because your mind replays conflicts, insults, or regrets, this video is for you. The Stoics understood something most people never learn. Evil does not always roar like a storm. Sometimes it drips slowly, like poison into the well, while you sleep. And night is when either your defenses are repaired or quietly dismantled. The Stoics believed night was sacred, not because it was peaceful, but because it revealed truth. Seneca once wrote that the mind, when stripped of distraction, shows its real wounds, and wounds ignored in darkness bleed louder in daylight. Before we speak of protection, we must speak of vulnerability. At night, your ego sleeps, your masks fall, your subconscious listens. This is why manipulators love emotional people who go to bed unresolved. This is why predators target those who do not close their inner gates before sleep. Tonight, you will learn how to close those gates. Here are 7 ancient, proven night routines that protect you from evil people. 1. End the day by judging your actions, not your excuses. Before sleep, sit in stillness. No phone, no noise, no distraction. Ask yourself 3 questions, not gently, but honestly. Where did I give access to someone who did not deserve it? Where did I react instead of choosing reason? Where did I betray my own standards to keep peace? This is not self-attack. This is self-command. Marcus Aurelius practiced this nightly. He treated his own mind as a court of law. He wrote that a man who does not examine himself becomes an open city, unguarded, undefended. Evil people thrive on unexamined habits. They return to the same weaknesses again and again. When you replay the day, you strip them of future access. Name the moment someone crossed a boundary. Name how you responded. Then decide clearly how you will respond next time. Do not rehearse revenge. Rehearse restraint, like sharpening a blade in silence. This routine trains discernment, and discernment is the enemy of manipulation. Because once you see clearly, you cannot be used blindly. Patterns reveal themselves when reviewed in silence. The same tone, the same trigger, the same moment where you hesitated instead of acting. This is where power returns to you. The night trial is not about guilt, it is about preparation. A general does not mourn past mistakes, he studies them. Each review closes a door that once stood open. Each honest judgment removes another weakness from your character. Over time, something changes. You begin to anticipate behavior before it unfolds. You sense manipulation before it speaks. You withdraw before damage is done. Evil people rely on surprise, on impulse, on you not noticing the pattern until it is too late. This practice denies them all 3. When the day is judged nightly, the next day is lived deliberately, and a deliberate mind is the hardest mind to invade. And when invasion fails, manipulation starves. What cannot slip past awareness cannot take root. What is seen early loses its power. Soon, you stop asking why people behave a certain way. You start asking what this reveals. And that shift is everything. Because clarity removes emotion from judgment. You no longer personalize disrespect, you classify it. You no longer argue with behavior, you respond to it correctly. The night trial sharpens this instinct daily, like a compass recalibrated every evening. Small corrections prevent major deviation. You wake up less surprised, less reactive, less available to nonsense. And evil people sense this before they test you. They feel the lack of openings, the absence of softness they can exploit. So they move on, quietly, instinctively, not because you confronted them, but because your inner gates are no longer unattended. A mind that reviews itself nightly is never caught unprepared twice, and preparation is quiet dominance. 2. At night, release what no longer serves you. Before sleep, detach emotionally from every person you interacted with. Not coldness, not resentment, detachment. Say inwardly, I return what is theirs. I reclaim what is mine. Seneca warned that those who carry others into their sleep wake up exhausted before the day even begins. Evil people want to live rent-free in your mind. They want your nights. Do not give them the luxury. Visualize a flame, not destructive, but purifying. Let it burn away voices, opinions, insults, and expectations. You are not abandoning compassion. You are preserving clarity. A traveler does not carry stones given by strangers. Neither should you. Let the mind settle like water after a storm. Every thought that clings without purpose clouds judgment. Every grudge that lingers drains energy. Every insult that is replayed steals your peace. Release is not weakness. It is strategic. By letting go of what no longer serves you, you wake renewed, unburdened, and alert. You carry only what aligns with your principles. You carry only what strengthens your reason. Evil people feed on lingering thoughts, on hesitation, on overreaction. Detach, and you deny them their sustenance. Practice this nightly. See each interaction, each slight, each expectation, and return it where it belongs. By morning, your mind is yours again, free, calm, resilient, and when you meet the day, you meet it whole, not fractured by yesterday's shadows. Peace is the armor that evil people cannot pierce. When the room grows quiet and the world loosens its grip, remember this. Night is not merely rest. Night is defense. The careless fall asleep carrying open doors in their minds. The disciplines seal them. What you rehearse before sleep becomes the lens through which tomorrow is seen. A mind left cluttered wakes reactive. A mind cleared wakes sovereign. This is why the Stoics guarded the final moments of the day. Not with distraction, not with indulgence, but with deliberate order. Ask yourself gently, what tried to disturb my character today? What attempted to pull me away from reason? Do not argue with it. Do not justify it. Simply observe and release. The night owes no one an explanation. Neither do you. Evil does its best work in rumination, in the replay, in the imagined conversations, in the revenge that never happens yet exhausts you all the same. Refuse that contract. Your sleep is a sacred territory. Only wisdom may enter. As you lie still, let the body soften. Let the breath become slow and indifferent to urgency. Urgency belongs to daylight. Night belongs to restoration. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the soul becomes dyed by its thoughts. So choose carefully what colors you allow before darkness closes in. Choose restraint. Choose perspective. Choose silence. Nothing that cannot be controlled deserves space in your final thoughts. Nothing that is not yours deserves residency. You are not running away. You are standing guard. This is how strength is maintained. This is how clarity survives hostile worlds. This is how you wake untouched by malice. When morning arrives, evil people will still exist. Noise will still demand attention. Manipulation will still attempt entry, but you will rise fortified. Because while others slept entangled, you slept free. And a free mind is the one thing no dark intention can ever conquer. 3. Rewrite the story they tried to write about you. Evil people manipulate through narrative. They label you. They distort your intentions. They assign roles to control you. At night, reclaim authorship. Epictetus taught that men are disturbed not by events, but by the meanings they assign to them. Identify one moment where someone tried to define you, then rewrite it. Not with anger, but with truth. They called you weak, you chose restraint. They called you difficult, you enforced boundaries. They called you cold, you stopped bleeding publicly. This routine dismantles gaslighting at its root, because once you control the story, their power dissolves. Every story they spin relies on your silence. Every lie they tell depends on your hesitation. Every label they stick gains strength when you accept it unconsciously. By rewriting the narrative nightly, you take back the authority over your life. You remind yourself of the choices you made, the boundaries you held, the composure you maintained. Do this consistently, and something subtle happens. You begin to live your truth more visibly, so that the distorted stories of others cannot take root. Your actions confirm your story before their words can even reach an audience. Evil people may still whisper. They may still attempt to define you in their terms, but their words will fall flat. They will echo into a space you no longer inhabit. Control the story, and you are no longer their character. You are the author. You are the judge. You are the witness to your own life. And in that authorship, freedom and respect become inevitable. Most manipulation fails not because it is weak, but because it is exposed to light. Narratives thrive in darkness. They survive where self-doubt lives unchecked. They grow where memory is left unmanaged. This is why the evening matters. Before sleep, revisit the day as a calm observer, not as the accused, not as the defender, but as the philosopher. Ask, what was said about me today, explicitly or subtly? What version of me was being pushed? Then place that version beside your principles. If it does not align, it is not yours. You are not required to accept interpretations from people who do not carry your values, your discipline, or your long-term vision. Stoicism is not about hardening into indifference. It is about precision, about naming things correctly. When you name yourself correctly, false names lose their grip. Over time, this practice sharpens perception. You begin to recognize manipulation instantly, not emotionally, but structurally. You see how stories are used to provoke guilt, to manufacture obligation, to justify disrespect. And because you see it, you are no longer moved by it. You do not rush to correct every lie. You do not scramble to explain yourself. You let reality do the work. Truth does not need volume, it needs consistency. By morning, you wake aligned, your inner narrative steady, your self-concept unfractured. This is how Stoics become untouchable, not by force, but by authorship. Those who cannot control you will always try to define you. Let them write, you will live. 4. Prepare for tomorrow without fear. This is Stoic premeditation, not fear. Marcus Aurelius advised preparing for insult, betrayal, and misunderstanding before they occur. Not to suffer twice, but to remain unshaken. At night, calmly imagine, if someone disrespects me tomorrow, I will not explain. If someone provokes me, I will not react. If someone tests my boundaries, I will withdraw access. This is not pessimism. This is preparedness. Evil people rely on surprise. Prepared minds are boring to them. Choose one boundary you will enforce tomorrow, silently. Silence is the strongest response to those seeking control. At this point, if this wisdom is sharpening your awareness, pause for a moment. Like the video, not as a favor, but as a signal to yourself that you choose discipline over chaos. And if you seek teachings that strengthen the soul instead of inflating the ego, subscribe. We walk the long road here, not the loud one. The long road demands preparation every night. Not tomorrow's events, but tomorrow's self. The person you will be when insult comes, when tests arrive, when manipulation tries to creep in. By rehearsing these moments quietly, you remove fear from their equation. You remove reaction from your decision-making. You remove the leverage they hope to wield. Evil people feed on uncertainty, hesitation, and surprise. They crave openings in your mind, gaps in your attention, cracks in your principles. Prepare, and those cracks no longer exist. Sleep becomes an ally, not a surrender. Each night you rehearse restraint. Each night you rehearse clarity. Each night you rehearse strength without aggression. And when the day comes, you do not wake into chaos. You wake into mastery. You wake knowing that no one, no insult, no manipulation, no test can catch you unarmed. Premeditation is the quiet weapon of the disciplined, and those who wield it consistently live each day undefeated. Understand what is truly happening in this practice. You are not forecasting pain, you are rehearsing composure. There is a profound difference. The fearful imagines suffering and feel it immediately. The Stoic imagines challenge and feels nothing, because the response has already been chosen. When the mind knows what it will do, the heart stays calm. This is why preparation dissolves anxiety. Anxiety is born from unanswered questions. Premeditation answers them in advance. What if they disrespect me? I remain silent. What if they misunderstand me? I remain aligned with my values. What if they withdraw approval? I do not chase it. Nothing destabilizes a manipulator faster than someone who has already accepted the worst outcome and found it insignificant. They cannot threaten what you have already made peace with. This nightly rehearsal trains emotional muscles, not to tense, but to relax under pressure. Over time, your nervous system learns a new lesson. I do not need urgency to survive. I do not need reaction to be safe. I do not need approval to be whole. And so when confrontation appears, your body does not spike. Your breath does not shorten. Your words do not rush. You are already there, calm, deliberate, unreachable. Evil people sense this immediately. They feel it in the absence of friction, in the lack of emotional hooks, in the stillness that gives them nothing to pull. Prepared minds deny them theater. No drama, no escalation, no reward. Eventually, they move on, not because you fought, but because you were uninteresting to their hunger. This is the deeper purpose of premeditation. Not control over others, but dominion over the self. You are not bracing for battle. You are choosing your posture in advance. And that posture is upright, measured, unshakable. Night after night, you refine this discipline. Not loudly, not visibly, but effectively. So when morning arrives, you do not scan the world for threats. You scan yourself for alignment, and finding it intact, you move forward, unrushed, unafraid, unowned. This is how Stoics remain untouched in a world that constantly reaches for reaction, prepared, not paranoid, alert, not anxious, ready without fear. 5. Clean your inner mind before sleep. Before sleep, identify emotional residue, not what happened, but what remained. Resentment, shame, guilt, unspoken anger. Seneca warned that suppressed emotion decays into character flaws. Evil people exploit emotional clutter. Write one sentence, only one, about what you are holding. Then decide, is this within my control? If not, release it. Stoicism is not suppression. It is selection. Like choosing what to carry across a storm. Release is not weakness. It is strategy. Every thought, every feeling that lingers unnecessarily is a weight that slows your reason. Every grudge you hold is a lever evil people can pull without touching you. By cleaning your mind nightly, you make space for clarity, judgment, and calm. You allow your principles to rise above the noise of petty provocations. You reclaim energy stolen by shadows that never deserved it. Do not mistake this for detachment from life. It is a refinement of presence, a sharpening of the lens through which you view the world. Over time, this practice builds immunity. Emotional clutter no longer triggers reaction. Resentment no longer fuels misjudgment. Manipulation no longer finds a foothold. When you sleep with a clean mind, you wake ready to act deliberately, to respond rationally, to live freely, uncontrolled by the small schemes of those who seek to unsettle you. And this freedom, though silent, becomes your strongest shield. And understand the deeper layer of this discipline. What you refuse to examine does not disappear. It waits. Unprocessed emotion does not rest. It seeps into tone. It bends judgment. It leaks into decisions you believe are rational. This is why Stoics treated the inner world with the same rigor as the outer one. A cluttered mind reacts. A cleaned mind responds. Night is the ideal time for this work because the ego is quieter, the performance has ended, and there is no audience to impress. Here, honesty costs nothing. Ask yourself plainly, what feeling followed me longer than it should have today? What reaction stayed after the event ended? Do not analyze it endlessly. Do not dramatize it. Name it. Naming reduces its power. Resentment loses force when recognized. Guilt weakens when separated from responsibility. Shame dissolves when seen without judgment. Evil people depend on what you refuse to look at. They thrive where emotions are vague, unnamed, and unresolved. They press where the mind is already crowded. But when the inner space is orderly, there is nothing to press against. This nightly cleaning is not emotional indulgence. It is maintenance. Just as you would not allow trash to pile up in your living space, you do not allow emotional debris to accumulate in the mind. And once released, do not retrieve it. Do not replay it. Do not justify holding on to it. What is outside your control is outside your concern. What is within your control is your character. And character requires lightness, not load. Over time, something unmistakable happens. You become harder to provoke, not because you are numb, but because there is no unresolved residue to ignite. Words pass through you instead of lodging inside. Offenses glance off instead of embedding. Manipulation finds no friction. You move through life less burdened, more accurate, more free. This is not emotional distance. This is emotional discipline. And discipline, practiced quietly each night, turns the mind into a place where only reason, clarity, and chosen values may remain. When the inner house is clean, nothing hostile can hide inside it. That is power. 6. Strengthen the part of you no one can reach. Before sleep, affirm, not with slogans, but with truth. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself nightly, I have power over my mind, not outside events. Say inwardly, I cannot be corrupted without my consent. I cannot be controlled without my cooperation. I cannot be broken unless I abandon reason. These are not words. They are boundaries. Evil people fear those who know who they are. Because certainty is uninviting to manipulation. When you strengthen what cannot be touched, provocation loses its aim. Insults fall without landing. Pressure searches for cracks and finds none. This inner core is built quietly, not through bravado, not through display, but through nightly alignment with reason. Each affirmation seals another boundary. Each reminder restores sovereignty. You go to sleep anchored, not scattered across the opinions of others. Evil people look for reactions. They look for hunger, insecurity, confusion. They look for something to pull. When they find a mind governed from within, they feel it immediately. There is nothing to grab, nothing to twist, nothing to feed on. so they retreat. Not loudly, not dramatically, instinctively. A person who knows who they are does not need to defend it, and that quiet certainty is the strongest position a human being can occupy. Because what is reinforced in silence cannot be undone by noise. Most people search for strength in visibility, approval, recognition, dominance. But those are external, and anything external can be withdrawn. Stoics built strength where no hand could reach. This inner core is not confidence as the world defines it. It is coherence, a state where belief, action, and principle are aligned. When alignment exists, doubt has nowhere to lodge. Nightly affirmation is not self-deception. It is self-remembrance. You are not convincing yourself of power. You are recalling what has always been true. No insult can override your values. No pressure can command your judgment. No manipulation can enter without permission. And because you remember this before sleep, your subconscious absorbs it as law. By morning, it is no longer a thought, it is posture. This is why evil people sense resistance before they ever speak. They read uncertainty in posture, in micro-reactions, in the need to explain. But they also read certainty, and certainty closes doors without confrontation. A person governed from within does not negotiate their worth, does not barter their peace, does not bend to remain included. They simply are. Over time, this practice reshapes identity. You stop asking, how do I appear? And begin asking, am I aligned? And alignment produces a calm that cannot be mimicked. This is the calm of someone who knows what can be lost and what cannot. Sleep becomes deeper, thought becomes quieter, morning becomes steadier. Because when the inner foundation is sealed, nothing external can shake it. This is not invulnerability, it is integrity. And integrity, once established, is untouchable. 7. Sleep as one who owes nothing. This is the final seal. Go to sleep owing no explanation, no apology for existing, no justification. Epictetus taught that freedom begins when you stop trying to manage how others perceive you. Before closing your eyes, say, I have lived today according to my values, not theirs. This is how you sleep peacefully, while others stay restless plotting. Now ask yourself this, who loses access to you tonight if you truly commit to these routines and feel it fully? The liberation is immediate, even if subtle. Those who tried to manipulate, provoke, or unsettle you, their influence ends where your discipline begins. You owe no one your energy, no one your attention, no one your peace. This is the power of a mind practiced nightly, a mind that reviews, releases, rehearses, and fortifies itself. A mind that walks into tomorrow unburdened, alert, and sovereign. Sleep is no longer a surrender, it becomes a fortress. Every dream passes through gates you control. Every thought aligns with your reason. Every residue of chaos from the day dissolves. By morning, you are whole, unshaken, undistracted, untouchable by those who cannot reach the part of you you guard so diligently. And this is the ultimate lesson of the night trial. Peace is earned through practice, freedom is claimed through discipline, and respect, both inward and outward, begins where your vigilance never ends. Now subscribe and write this in the comments. I do not fear evil, I outgrow it. My nights sharpen my mind, and my silence protects my soul.